Cheers and salutations. Welcome, everyone, to Hard Lens Media. My name is Kit Cabello, and we have ourselves a very special interview. Today, in this day and age, we are witnessing third parties being smeared and slandered and attacked. And now more than ever, third party candidates need to step up. And more importantly, we as voters need to stand in solidarity. This goes for Greens, Libertarians, non affiliate, because third parties, it's a sign of what the American people want, and that is more choices, more representation, and more importantly, us, dare I say it, actually having a government that works for us, the people. So joining me here is a candidate who's running for the 9th Congressional District in the great state of New Jersey. Give it up for Ben Taylor. Ben Taylor, first time on the show, running as a Green Party candidate for the 9th Congressional District. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and why you are running during this election cycle.
Sure, absolutely. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Kit. As you mentioned, yes, my name is Ben Taylor. I am running in the 9th Congressional District of New Jersey against the incumbent, who is Bill Pascrell. That guy has been in office since before I was born. He's been in since 97. I was born in 98. And the reason why I'm running and why I'm running third party is really, to me, it's part of a larger movement. And ever since I was young, I've been interested in politics. I got my degree, my undergraduate, from Rutgers University in political science, and I never really thought that a time would come where I would have to use this education and this degree and really pursue something political.
Mhm.
But with especially what's going on in Gaza and now the invasion in Rafah, which is it's horrific. I mean, it's just horrible.
Mhm.
And I decided, like, who am I? So I looked on and I said, who am I going to be voting for? Because I can't vote for people who do genocide.
Mhm.
And I found out that there wasn't somebody on the ballot who was going to be against genocide. So I said, I'll take it up and I will be that candidate. So I can at
Wow.
least vote for myself.
So, looking at the state of New Jersey, obviously, you are dealing with an incumbent there, and he's been in power since before you were
Yeah.
born, obviously. And so, what does that say really about the current political environment in New Jersey? Because clearly, uh, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some shocking similarities of how New Jersey runs its politics, so like how Illinois runs its politics, and that is the system only favors the two-party duopoly, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and it's quite clear that when we address situations like this, third parties have to struggle. So you're running as a Green Party candidate, which I commend. I salute you. But what are some of the
Thank
challenges
you.
that you have to face in regards to getting ballot access? And more importantly, dare I say it, maybe a potential debate between yourself and the incumbent, should that happen?
Yeah, so for ballot access, my requirement for New Jersey House of Representatives is 100 signatures. That said, there's always challenging from the FEC
Hmm.
about which signatures are actually going to be accepted, which is why I'm aiming for closer to 200 signatures. Um, but I have a full time job
Hmm.
and it's a seasonal job. I work at a garden center, a nursery, basically, taking care of plants. And in the spring, this time of year, it's extremely busy. They bring me in for sometimes 6 days a week. And when am I able to get out there and get signatures? Well, it's very, very, very difficult.
Hmm.
And the mainstream media doesn't help us out at all,
Hmm.
obviously. Even when there's big stories like Jill Stein getting arrested and assaulted by the police, at that protest. Forgive me for forgetting which campus that was at, but that's a huge story. Like if that was Russia or China arresting one of their presidential candidates, the
Mm,
media would take that, and all kinds of things would happen, right? So the media is ignoring us, which they're kind of meant to do. So that's to be expected. But other than that, in New Jersey, I mean, to say that it's dominated by the duopoly is really an understatement. I mean, these people are some of the most egregious examples of like misrepresentation of the state. For example, my opponent Pascal has been in office for a very very long time. He takes more money from the police and police unions than any other member of Congress, including Republicans, including Senate in the Senate.
hmm
And he represents one particular city in District 9, Patterson, which has one of the most corrupt police forces in the entire country, which means since our country's police and prison system is so corrupt and we have the highest incarceration rate in the world, basically means it's the most corrupt police force in the world.
hmm
So it just goes to show how misrepresented the people of our state are.
hmm And about the current incumbent, what other policies has he implemented in regards to just really his own interests? Because the thing is, we always hear about these politicians. We always hear about how they're doing insider trading. We always hear how
Yeah.
they haven't held any kind of community meetings with people or town halls. What has been his interaction with his constituents in the ninth congressional district in the great state of New Jersey?
Yeah, so keep in mind this man is 87 years old. So when he gets out there, it's for maybe a couple of minutes. Any sort of a debate, I think, is probably out of the question. Um, but right, in terms of what is he actually doing out in the district, lately there's been this really strange um, like PR stunt he's been doing where he comes out with these comically large like checks and goes around to the cities of the district, and he'll do like $1 million federal grant, and he
What?
did secure all of these. Yeah, he did secure
Okay.
these grants. They do exist,
All
but
right.
he'll have like $1 million grant for um, like fixing a bridge, but this bridge didn't need to be fixed in the first place, and then it gets bidded on by contract. They contracted out to all these different companies, and uh, all these really, really kind of bad construction companies end up getting the money for it. And look, I don't know if they're following the proper labor laws. I would have no idea of that. And now that Oprah is on the chopping block, we may never know.
Mhm. Uh,
That said, like, it doesn't add up when you're giving. Uh, there was another one where it was like $800,000 for 4 or 5 electronic vehicle charging stations, which only cost maybe $2,000, 20,000 for installation. And the when you start to add up the math,
mhm.
where is all the extra money going, right? That's the question that I am always wondering, because these stunts have been uh, repeated every election cycle.
Mhm.
So I've been really trying to think about and uncover like what is actually going on here with these grants, because they sure aren't going into the infrastructure in any meaningful way.
Mhm.
So yeah, my opponent has this really aggressive infrastructure activity, which I think is more detrimental to New Jersey than and District 9 than it is helpful, because it's fixing things that don't need to be fixed, is developing land that hasn't seen development or has uh, been undeveloped for a long time, and there's a lot of ecological implications there. Not only that, but there's all sorts of problems, I think, that arise when you're contracting out to the lowest possible bidder when you
Mm.
have these massive grants in the first place.
And knowing full well that there's a long said history of corruption in New Jersey, especially with New Jersey politics. I mean, Illinois is one to talk. It's the pot calling the kettle black. But overall, with the corruption that is seen not only in local elections, do you have any concerns that even if you do get the ballot signatures, are you concerned at all, or is it are you prepared for any kind of situation in which your signatures would all be dismissed? Because that is something that has impacted a lot of third parties and people that we've interviewed in the past, be they Greens or Libertarians or non-affiliate. That is, they have the signatures, they send them in, but then either they all get dismissed or the Democrats and Republicans then work together to prevent you from being on the ballot. Has there been any kind of a joint talk with you and other third party candidates that are running in New Jersey in order to have a strong case to protect yourselves so that you can remain on the ballot? Because that is a concern that we're seeing being brought up as third parties are being smeared and slandered by corporate media.
Yeah, so to answer that question, we have been working very hard. We're going for a full slate of congressional candidates in New Jersey. We
Mhm.
have 12. We have 11. Yeah, we have 11 House candidates thus far, who are either at their kind of 200 roughly mark or getting there. And the Green Party of New Jersey is working very hard to make sure we are all able to be on the ballot. They have fought cases before to make sure that we're getting on there.
Mhm.
And they say we will definitely do it again. So, big shout out to the Green Party of New Jersey for helping me out with that and making sure. I don't think that, in terms of the signatures getting dismissed, that is a serious concern, which is why our goal is really double the amount that is technically required. So 100 signatures are required, but there's been many, many cases in the past where if you get 100 signatures, they find one to argue on, and then that's it. You're not going to be on the ballot.
Mhm.
So that's sort of what we're doing to ameliorate it. The
Mhm.
problems of the corruption are very real, and we know that the two parties really like to work together on making sure that third party candidates either get, in a way, sucked in and almost cannibalized by the two party system,
Mhm.
or just keep them off the ballot completely. It is a concern, but one that I feel like with enough work and also solidarity with all these different movements that are going on right now, um, we can get past. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we're all in the clear. We have to make sure people are coming out to vote
Mhm.
green. Um, that's important, and we also need to sort of push back against this narrative that is so pervasive in mainstream media, where if you vote third party, you're taking away from the lesser evil, or whatever that sort of argument is.
Oh, but the whole
I
idea of
think that's
that third
silly.
parties are a spoiler, and
Right.
that if you vote third party, you're helping out the Republican, or if you vote third party, you're helping out the Democrat. When I think we all
Yeah.
know full well that the whole idea of believing in the spoiler candidates just it's nothing more than a false attack. And let's face it, folks, if you're voting third party, your vote is going to that third party candidate. And we are seeing this massive panic by the Democrats still to prevent third parties from again getting voters to support them. So if there's one thing that you would need right now, because obviously you're saying you're doing your own career right now, you're focused, you have a job that you're taking care of right now. Obviously, we all have to work, but if there's any kind of events or rallies that you have, or there's a chance for people to help you out to get on the ballot, is there a place, or besides your website, is there anywhere that people who live in New Jersey can go to help out the Green Party of New Jersey, so that way you guys get more signatures and more support and more awareness for your campaigns? Because right now is a capital time for third parties to really motivate or get voters enthusiastic to support them, because right now polls are showing that 50% of Americans identify themselves as independent or third party leaning. So is there anywhere where people can go to help out the Green Party of New Jersey, and by proxy helping you out?
Yeah, so absolutely. If you check out my website, I have links to all of my social media accounts on there as well. You can find that on the Linktree link up at the top, and just even like following my accounts, looking at what I'm saying, um, reposting it, getting the word out is a big help in and of itself. Um, Another, like, there is an event going on in New Jersey in my district in Patterson on May 19th.
Hmm.
That is going to be a sort of celebration of Palestinian culture, and I think it's called Palestine Day on Palestine Way, which is
Hmm.
a street in Patterson. Patterson, New Jersey, has a very large Palestinian American community, and I will be present at that event. And if anybody wants to come out and help me get signatures on that day, that would be awesome. But otherwise, if you want to come out on the 19th and just enjoy the festivities,
Hmm.
that's more than welcome as well.
Okay, so as I think as a final note too, because I want to have this as a two-part question. First of
Yep.
all, you have a very progressive uh, policy platform. I've been looking
Yes.
at from your campaign website, and the policy issues that you are running on are healthcare, education, women's rights, indigenous liberation, climate crisis, the occupation of Palestine, LGBTQ issues, and so much more. But one question I do want to ask you is, where do you stand, or how do you feel about citizen ballot initiatives? And are you familiar with citizen ballot initiatives?
Yeah, citizen ballot initiatives, in my opinion, are extremely important, and I think that we need to have a lot more of those. Um, the the struggle with that is, um, well, like for example, let's say I win this election, which I will. I'm gonna win.
that's
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 why I'm running.
that's the attitude I want to hear. You just
So
say, "Yeah, I'm going to win it," as you should. There we go. All right.
so I get in there, right, and I'm on the congressional floor at the House, and I'm pushing for citizen ballot initiatives. Well, I'll be dismissed pretty quickly, but the point is, and I can't stress this enough, it's a movement, right? We're coming at this, a lot of young people especially, but people across all demographics are coming at this from a lot of different angles. I am taking the electoral um, politics angle, but there's many angles of the movement, and so I would say use whatever means necessary within the movement to do what you can. If the most that you can is to come out and vote green, do that.
Mhm.
If you can do show up to protests and help out with some of the encampments that need supplies and help, do that. But do something if you feel that you identify with the movement and you want to see real change. There's something for everybody. Now that really doesn't answer your question at all, I realize, but so in terms of citizen ballot initiatives, I mean that's I think an extremely important piece of democracy that we are completely missing out on. I mean
Mhm.
to say that our democracy is on life support, which is to quote Jill Stein, I think that is even an understatement. Like especially here in New Jersey, the representation is just god awful. It's actually just ridiculous that this guy, my opponent, is so in bed with the cops and the police and so corrupt,
Mhm.
and yet he's meant to represent a district that is so heavily policed in maybe half the district, and then the other half of the district is because they've gerrymandered it's so bad that the other half of the district is like some of the wealthiest towns in the state.
Mhm. So as a final note, then for all our viewers and subscribers, as you begin this campaign, as obviously as the Green Party of New Jersey is trying to get more of its candidates on the ballot, what do you want to say to people who are perhaps maybe sitting on the sidelines, or perhaps they want to get involved because it's an arduous task. We've interviewed a lot of independent candidates, especially those that are struggling because let's face it, in this day and age in which if you want to run for office, you have to have at the bare minimum maybe $1 million in your back pocket. But
Yep.
we've interviewed people like Jose Vega, who's also running his campaign as aggressively as he can. What do you want to say to people who perhaps maybe do want to get involved, but maybe might be afraid to take that final step? Because what you're doing is a monumental task, but it must be done because we can no longer be silenced, and we cannot deny the fact that again the two-party system has failed us. What do you want to say to people who want to get involved, but perhaps maybe need that extra push to cross that Rubicon?
Yeah, so that's totally correct. The two party system has failed us completely, and it's been failing us for a long time, ever since I kind of have gone into politics from a very young age, and I was following politics when I was just a child, and the 2008 financial crisis really made it clear that this capitalist two party system is just not going to work. And the one thing that I will say to people who are maybe struggling to get involved, or they might want to but don't really know how, or they're maybe thinking about it and not doing anything. Look, all of our struggles are connected, and this is a movement that has been building for many years. This
Hmm.
is a movement that it can't be silenced anymore, and that's why you're seeing more people like me in running in Congress for the Green Party. You're seeing more people getting out and protesting. This is not this is not a one issue movement. This is a movement that is destined to change the system and bring better lives, not just to the people of New Jersey and not just to the people of America, but the people of the world. They're crying out and saying, America needs to change because they're exporting weapons everywhere, and there's so much just death and destruction that capitalism needs to survive.
Hmm.
We have to remember that our movements are not separate. The
Okay.
struggles that we face here at home are not separate from the struggles that are going on around the world. And if we can rally around this sort of eco-socialist model that the Green Party is taking, and remember that the climate crisis is looming, it's coming. Not to scare everybody, but
Right.
just remember that you will be welcomed into the movement, no matter where you're coming from, no matter what your personal struggles are. We're here for you, and we'll show you solidarity.
All right, and that's a great note to end it on. Again, Ben Taylor, he's running for the 9th Congressional District in New Jersey under the Green Party. All the best to you in your campaign. And by the way, we will be interviewing other third-party candidates that will be showing up later on this week here at Hard Lens Media. Now more than ever, we need voices out there, and we need people out there to actually represent third parties so that the American people can have more choices. We'll see how this election cycle plays out, especially in November, and what the final impact will be. But again, thank you so much, Ben Taylor, for taking time out of your day to join us. We're going to be continuing on the rest of our main show. To our Can TV audience, check out Hard Lens Media on YouTube, Rumble, Rockfin, Odyssey, and Kick. 9 a.m. Centrals when we go live on all those video platforms. We'll see you, all you beautiful people, for the rest of the main show. Take care.
Land of the free, and you'll know us by the trail of dead. It's just one more world war to complete the set. When you live by the pike, you die by the pith. You die wide-eyed, still pleading the fifth, or crying divine epithets and pathetic attempts at defense. All empathetic for those on your side of the fence. Well, I'll gladly put you and your legacy into an alternate tense of faltering senses and altered events. Like hun, it ain't a hearse, it's a reaper's stretch. Ah, how sweet, she said. Bunch of hordes in the street like it's Evil Dead. Where the thin blue line meets razor's edge. And where the corporate ladder ascends to a steel-toed boot that awaits on the ledge. You'll be licking it fresh at your boss's request till it stomps each finger and watches you fall to your death. And drown in an ocean of debt. Gone with the fodder who gathered to honor the patient left, who purity tested themselves into sections, step by step, till the next election, when it's just one them and the sound of their well-read theorized breath. That's harm reduction for the lowly cost of you holding your nose and just openly buying the theft. Maybe that's all in the flick of the pen. Maybe we're all one unmarked van from a trip to the pen. Being guarded by pigs who exist on a diet of dying breaths of much worthier men. Honey, heaven's expecting you. Just don't get too hung up on who they let in. Just look up at the shine of the pearly gates. You don't need to worry if there's lead in the paint. You don't need to worry if there's lead in the water, lead in the milk, lead in the honey, lead in the caustic embrace of the Heavenly Father. Lead is the flavor of passive perpetual slaughter. Lead is the taste of us led to the ledge by the lure of the legend of expert consensus, and then beckon to stretch it just one step farther. And I hope all the folks who were boastfully gloating and toasting themselves as the heroes of COVID for boosting their boosters and doing their part are now equally thrilled to be starstruck martyrs. All laid in a government grave with anonymous markers, like you're back from the carvers and off to the splicer. You're the very first wave to be slain in the war against Pfizer. That 100 years war against Pfizer. They are thinning the crowd that is striking right now to bleed adequate pay from those inhuman misers, who all sit in their office and designate coffins to people regarded as nothing but profit for Kaiser. Still the Dems want you nicer. Dems want you softer. Dems want you kinder. Yeah, they all want you graciously starving in silence. You will speak when you're spoken to. Rest of the time, you and all of us peasants are merely depressing statistics neglected in Congress's binders. All bled, bone dry, then fed to the grinder. Our headstones line each step as reminders. That's a lesson in object permanence learned in the furnace by workers consigned to the fire. Workers bled bone dry, then fed by the fed to the grinder. Fed by the fed to the grinder. Now the fed went straight to your head. Mind what you hide and your size unsaid, and your eyes turn blind to the signs unread. Flag bright red, so you let it in bed. You let it inside, and you'll see that it's fed. Never you mind that it grinds your wealth into bread for itself, then it bleeds you dry, then it dines on the dead. Now the fed went straight to your head. Mind what you hide and your size unsaid, and your eyes turn blind to the signs unread. Flag bright red, so you let it in bed. You let it inside, and you'll see that it's fed. Never you mind that it grinds your wealth into bread for itself, then it bleeds you dry, then it dines on the dead. And the fed went straight to your head. Mind what you hide and your size unsaid, and your eyes turn blind to the signs unread. Flag bright red, so you let it in bed. You let it inside, you'll see that it's fed. Never you mind that it grinds your wealth into bread for itself, bleeds you dry, then dines on the dead. The fed went straight to your head. Mind what you hide and your size unsaid, and your eyes turn blind to the signs unread. Flag bright red, so you let it in bed. You let it inside, and you'll see that it's fed. Never you mind that it grinds your wealth into bread for itself, then it bleeds you dry, then it dines on the dead. Here's where our leaders would see us all led. Here's where our leaders would see us all led. Here's where our leaders would see us all led. Here's where our leaders would see us all led. The fed went straight to your head. Mind what you hide and your size unsaid, and your eyes turn blind to the signs unread. Flag bright red, so you let it in bed. You let it inside, and you'll see that it's fed. Never you mind that it grinds your wealth into bread for itself, then it bleeds you dry, then it dines on the dead. Fed went straight to your head. Mind what you hide and your size unsaid, and your eyes turn blind to the signs unread. Flag bright red, so you let it in bed. You let it inside, you'll see it, it's fed. Never you mind that it grinds your mind, that it grinds yourself, that it bleeds you dry, that it dines on the dead. Here's where our leaders would see us all led.